Good evening, everybody. I'm back. I'm your host, Jack Remington, the Jack Remington Political Analyst Channel. Today's video, we're going to show you the great Ann Coulter on her C-SPAN interview back in mid-April of this year. Show them a man of my word, and I'll back up what I say. I'm going to reference this book here a bit, Adios America by Ann Coulter. And why I think she's so successful with her 13 books or wherever it is, maybe more. I'll give her credit if I'm wrong. Where her notes start in this book, then her index starts right here. You take her notes with the back part of the jacket and do it like this. That's 25% of her book is notes and index, reference material, source material. She bases her books on facts. F-A-C-T-S, exclamation point. Something that drives the left and the rhinos crazy. Let's get to Ann Coulter and hear what she has to say. And instead of playing the clip straight through, I want to stop her and I'll respond to certain points. We'll do it that way. So here's Ann Coulter on C-SPAN. Enjoy.
C-SPAN viewers are very familiar with our next guest. It is author, columnist, substacker Ann Coulter. Miss Coulter, last time you were on this program was a couple months before the 2024 election. As we sit here today, close to 100 days into the second Trump administration, what do you think these first 100 days will be remembered for?
The most wonderful 100 days in United States history. I can't believe how great Trump is. If you've followed my work assiduously, you know I campaigned with Trump when he was running in 2016. He did ask for a copy of my book, Adios America. A lot of the immigration stuff came from that. Huge fan. I was ecstatic the night he won. And then he hired Jared Kushner and Gary Cohn and turned the keys of the kingdom over to Wall Street. And it was basically, you know, Jeb Bush. So I gently encouraged him to go back to the great stuff he had campaigned on. I showed up in the Oval Office. I didn't release this, but it came out. I think the yelling and cursing was so loud in the Oval Office about 3 months into his first term, and just yelled at him. And I wasn't the first one to use the F word, but oh boy, did that fly.
Yes, Donald Trump did make some questionable hiring choices during his first term. His family members, who did not get paid, by the way. He made his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, the president's top personal advisor, a very important position. And even I questioned that. I wasn't sure where his loyalties really lied. I know he's married to his daughter, and she converted to Judaism for Jared Kushner, which is good and fine. You know, where's the loyalty? I mean, it's like the Godfather, Vito Corleone, said about Paulie, the son-in-law that the daughter married. He goes, hey, give him some work and give him a job, but never trust him with a family business. Well, that made me think of that when Donald Trump hired Jared Kushner back in 2016. But you got to admit, Donald Trump, he's changed course. I mean, I don't think there's any family members working for him this time, and he's got a much more formidable staff and cabinet position nominees. And notice how the left didn't fight him so hard the first term. I don't remember them fighting him at all for any of these positions. But this time they came after him because Trump hired the heaviest hitters he could find. And you saw the results of that.
Because he wasn't keeping his promises on trade, on anchor babies, and especially the wall.
Ann Coulter is very unfair to Donald Trump about the wall, about the promise of the wall. He did manage to build some parts of the wall, real bad parts, through Texas and the Texas-New Mexico border, but that was really bad. But you got to remember, Nasty Nancy didn't give him his $6 billion he needed to get the wall finished. Only $6 billion, right? But Nasty Nancy found a way to give Ukraine $350 billion a couple years later, didn't she? After Trump left office and medical cadaver took over.
I say that to say I think we're actually kind of lucky that he lost in 2020 and that the left spent 4 years absolutely persecuting him, prosecuting. I mean, the absurd things they went after him and his supporters for. And apparently that made him mad. So term two, I'm getting everything I voted for. I mean, even more. I can't believe it. Every day, it's things I didn't even think of. Yes, the water pressure in the showers, the toilets, the going after the universities, the anchor baby executive order, which I understand as of yesterday will be going before the Supreme Court. Very happy about that. Congress should pass a law to make it permanent, but hopefully the Supreme Court will rule the right way, because I believe the law, as I described in Adios America, is absolutely clear on that, which I'm happy to elaborate on.
Yes, I also agree with Ann Coulter on this one 100%, that it's a silver lining, a blessing in disguise that Trump lost in 2020 because you got the COVID going on, you had the George Floyd riots, and the country was a mess. And, Trump could have picked, sidestep a bad 4 years, which he kind of did. The only collateral damage was the January 6th crap, which nobody likes on either side. We got to see how bad the Democrats really are for 4 years, and why they should never be trusted with power ever again, and why it should be a dead party. They need to go extinct like the Whigs did before Abraham Lincoln came along. But that's never going to happen because the Democrats got that loyal base, the low information voter base. They just need to hear a couple of 10-word clips from their heroes and their do-gooders, and they're on board, and they're not going to change. I mean, it's just human nature with these people. It's not going to change. I don't care how many books you write. I don't care how many shows you have. I don't care about anything. These people in this country, especially California, not going to change. It's going to be blue forever. And people don't fall for this trap. All the Democrats are unpopular. They may be unpopular, but they're going to still win a lot of elections because there's so many of them. You got to remember how bad they outnumber us. So that's it for part one. I just want to close this video by saying that I think Ann Coulter is great. And we'll get to the immigration issue at the upcoming court case that still hasn't been decided by the Supreme Court. It's been 6 weeks. So I'm scared to death about this, what the Supreme Court's going to do, even though the law is clearly on Donald Trump's side. And there's no way that these federal court judges in these districts can have a blanket order stopping the President of the United States. Okay, we didn't vote for these judges. We voted for Donald Trump. Okay, and they keep saying, well, we didn't vote for Elon Musk. Well, we didn't vote for Fauci a few years ago either. So it goes to show you how bad things are between the two parties and how bad things are in the courts of law, supposedly our judicial system. And that's going to be our downfall if we can't get the Supreme Court straightened out. And they've been ruling against Trump. They've given him some victories, but they've been doing these temporary injunctions against Donald Trump. Things are really bad. I know Ann Coulter's right with the principles, and she's right with the court of law. She's right with previous rulings with Bill Clinton and Jimmy Carter and everybody else that's in her book. I understand all that. But you got to remember, this is the crossroads. Okay, they were so close to victory, in my opinion, that they can taste it, and then they're willing to break every law they can to make sure they get their final victory, which is total control. What the Democrats want is complete control for the next 200 years. Like LBJ said, I'll have the, voting Democrat for the next 200 years. That's what they want. They want to never lose election ever again, make the Republican Party slowly die as the older people, older Americans, the conservatives, you get more conservatives, you get older, get them replaced by people who are just going to keep having babies. And that's enough of this rant for now. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll stay tuned for the next video. Thank you, and have a good day.